Good afternoon to you.
Hi. Yeah, good afternoon, James.
Good afternoon.
Ernest Hilaire.
Yes.
I identified myself because I want to make a contribution on the matter which has been dominating the areas for the last few days. I want to start off by, I'm not sure if you would be able to help me. Why is it that UWP has made such an issue of this, and in particular, why have they decided to target me in all of this? Would you happen to know why?
I think because you were the former British High Commissioner, and the appointment would have taken place at the time that you were representing us in the UK. That's in April of 2014, Dr. Hilaire, wasn't it? But more than that, should we be making it an issue of the United Workers' Party attacking you, or generally Saint Lucians taking issue with what is happening with Dr. Jufalli?
Well, I think Saint Lucians should raise questions, and I think as a democracy, and certainly our society, people should ask questions of government. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a genuine attitude that should be displayed in society, and government should be able to offer explanation. But it has become political. And when you see, for example, United Park will make a will issue something on their Facebook page suggesting that the UK authorities is investigated myself and the Prime Minister, it really takes it to a ridiculous level. Therefore, it's no longer about the issue of the appointment. It's now becoming very personal. And more so, I can tell you that the Daily Mail that has carried that story, the reporter said to me he was in Saint Lucia, and he met with different people in Saint Lucia who gave him information and advice as to how he should approach the story. But team, let's put the politics aside, because I think at the right place in the right time, we'll deal with the political components of it. So let's look at some of the issues that have been raised. And like I said to you, some of them are genuine concerns that should be raised. People have the right, and they should hold public officials to account. But I will also say to you, to then become accusatory and suggest, for example, a public official is paid, I think is where it starts to cross the line. And I want to make that point because I have had the privilege to represent Saint Lucia and the region at student level, youth level, in cricket. I have been involved in major projects, whether it's the cricket ground, the stadium, Cricket World Cup, World T20. I have never been approached by anybody trying to bribe me. I've never been involved in any bribery. I've never asked for a bribe. And anybody who knows me will tell you, I approach my work with the passion and a sense of duty and professionalism as much as I can. And it's not about what I can get out of anything, but what Saint Lucia can get out. So when Dr. Juffali was first introduced to me, this is a gentleman who formally has had a long history of visiting Saint Lucia. He had heard a lot about Saint Lucia, and he was trying to visit Saint Lucia because it had been recommended to him over and over to come to Saint Lucia. So due diligence was done on the individual. The report suggested that he was an outstanding individual in terms of business. He came from a diplomatic family. His father was the honorary consul for Denmark, a position that he now holds. This gentleman, in addition to being Saint Lucia rep, is also the honorary consul for Denmark. And his brother is also the honorary consul for Switzerland. He came out of a diplomatic family. He's a person who served on many boards internationally, assisting many institutions internationally. And there was no issue or no reason to believe that there was anything wrong in the individual. And even to this day, there is no issue or any evidence to suggest anything was wrong with this individual. What has happened is really a domestic matter that has arisen since his appointment. He got divorced before he was appointed. He had a divorce settlement with his wife before he was appointed. Subsequent to that, the wife has decided that she wants a review of the settlement, and she's making demands. Tim, just think about this. The gentleman can only be, Ambassador Jufalli can only be, the case against him is only by virtue of the fact that he has residency status in the UK because he was appointed as the representative. Now, why would somebody, and think about it, Atim, why would you, assuming it is you, why would you accept an appointment which gives you residency status and will then allow somebody to sue you or to take you to court. He wouldn't do that. Why? And the suggestion that he went to seek immunity, so she cannot take action against him. He did not have to seek immunity, because by virtue of he living in Jeddah and traveling all over the world by international businessman, she cannot bring the case against him in London, only because he has residency status, at least. So that is very clear to in the briefings that have been given and has been explained before. So this idea that he went to seek immunity so she cannot take action against him is not true.
So hold on there, Dr. Hilaire. If he were not our representative to the IMO, are you saying that the action against him would not have gone ahead?
No, on what basis?
All right. What if we decide to waiver the immunity that he has? What will happen? And I know you're not an attorney, but what would happen?
Yes.
Would that give his ex-wife...
Why don't the lawyer... And think about it again, huh? Why doesn't her lawyer ask us to revoke the appointment? Because if we revoke the appointment, right, he's no longer he has no basis for him to have residency status anymore.
Yeah, but why not a waiver?
But then if the immunity is waived, he still has residency.
And then he does not have anything to answer?
Pardon?
The wife will not be able to file that legal suit against him and force him to respond?
If and he no longer has residency, she cannot. She cannot bring any case against him because he only has residency by virtue of the fact that he has the appointment. Now, but my point though is, this is a domestic matter. It is a civil matter between two parties.
But we are caught in the middle, Dr. Hilaire. But we are caught in the middle. Somehow reference is continuously made to Saint Lucia.
Well, you are right. We are caught in the middle, and it's an unfortunate development that has happened. But there's the principle of immunity of your diplomats. If a court, it's not just a court, if any individual brings a charge against any of your diplomats anywhere in the world, and they know that as a government, on such civil matters, you will lift the immunity, you will ask that the immunity be lifted, then you jeopardize the status of diplomats all over. So as a matter of principle, governments don't do it.
But if you have nothing to hide, Dr. Hilaire, and if this is proving so controversial, where Saint Lucia is caught in the middle of this particular melee, don't you think it's the prudent thing for us to do is to waive that immunity?
Well, the thing about it, Tim, again, like I said, there's a principle of protecting your diplomats. It's a principle that all countries uphold in international diplomacy. All countries uphold in international diplomacy. This is a civil matter. The two parties can resolve that civil matter outside. Because what she's really asking for is she's not applying for divorce, She's applying for a review of the settlement that she and her husband has. And this will matter.
But if the immunity, but Doc, if the immunity is standing, isn't the immunity standing in the way, isn't it?
It stands in the way. But if just think about it, if you were in Dr. Juffali's position and the government decides, we're going to ask the British government to lift immunity, what would you do? Would you stay in the United Kingdom?
So what are you saying that?
I'm just asking.
What are you saying that he can determine to leave the UK and not have to face this whole court case?
Well, I mean, the point I'm making to you. If people are saying that's what he's trying to do, not to go to court, then maybe he has other options. Maybe. I'm just trying to ask you the question. If you were in his place, what would you do? Because it has been looked as if he went to seek immunity for him not to go to court. But he was appointed long before the matter even went to court, and he got immunity long before the matter even arose.
But Doc, do we know
that's the fundamental point?
But do you know whether that's premeditated or not? Don't you think that he might have anticipated that probably his wife would take action against him? Is that so far-fetched? Is it far-fetched?
No, but maybe stretch it, because if you say to me, you divorce somebody, you have a settlement with them, you've gone on to your life, she's gone on with her life, you have an appointment, you go on with her life, and she decides for whatever reason, or whatever urgency she got, that she can get a lot more than what she has gotten, and therefore she should take action. And more so, she discovers that you now have residency status in London, and that this is for taking action against you, and she does so. But then when she does so, she then finds out, but wait, he has immunity, so we can't even really take action against him. I don't know that it was far-fetched that the person planned long in advance that I will divorce, we will agree on a settlement, and then thereafter, she will still come after me. But they had a settlement agreed upon.
But if you've gotten wind that she plans to take action against you, can you just use that as a cover? I'm just talking about possibilities. Possibilities.
That if you had gotten wind that she was going to come after you,
she'll take legal. Yeah, she plans.
No, I understand that, and that's a step on that. If you had gotten wind that she have come after you, but there was no basis to believe that. And certainly when we did our due diligence, there was no basis to believe that.
But how, going forward, Dr. Hilaire, how do we deal with that particular issue so that we remove ourselves from this particular situation?
But you see, the matter is going to court, and let the court decide, Tim. Let the court decide. What is making this matter more difficult now is, like I said from the start, because it has been politicized. It is becoming a difficult issue because it has been said by persons from Saint Lucia to embarrass Saint Lucia as much as possible. That's what it has become. It started off as a genuine issue where a lady was dissatisfied with her husband. She wanted to take him to court. She found out that yes, she cannot proceed because he has certain privileges. But then it has now been fueled beyond that, and that is what is most disturbing about it. And I'll say to you, Tim, you know, Dr. Jufalli can be a very valuable person to Saint Lucia, very valuable to Saint Lucia. Because when we met with Dr. Jufalli and we decided to step in investment, to introduce us to international investors, to try to bring investment to Saint Lucia, we tried to do, his position was very clear. He wanted to invest in Saint Lucia. His big activity now is medical research. He wanted, to set up a medical research industry in Saint Lucia. And we've done a lot of work to get legislation drafted, to create the framework for medical research, for the medical research industry to be established in Saint Lucia. Then it was realized that Saint Lucia had a particular problem with diabetes. And he said, look, I'm going to invest in setting up a global diabetes research center for all Saint Lucians with diabetes to be able to be registered, to get medicine, and for research to be done to find cures for diabetes. And I'm going to invest in it. I'm going to make it happen. Dr. Jufalli is a person with outstanding connections, with influence in the medical area, in business, whatnot. And he's a very valuable person and somebody who wants to contribute to Saint Lucia. And it's a little unfortunate that a domestic situation that he has found himself in, you know, which is going to be settled by the court very soon, has now become the kind of issue that some people are pushing it to be because they believe they can embarrass the government. Because over the next few weeks, this matter will be settled. And that's why the desperation is settling in, because the matters will be settled over the next few weeks.
What's in it for Dr. Jufalli?
What's in it for him? Mm-hmm. Well, you may ask the same question. What's in it for Bill Gates and the Linda Gates that have set up the Bill Gates and the Linda Foundation? What's in it for Bill Clinton that set up the Bill Clinton Foundation? See, there are people who are philanthropists. They have money and they have a desire to help other people, other causes, and to contribute to situations. There are people like that in the world.
Yeah, but Bill Gates is not serving in a capacity where he's representing another country as a diplomat.
No, well, you don't know him.
No,
I'm not saying he is, but I can tell you there are a long list of persons in this world who are well known, are very well endowed, and they do represent countries, and they do have status where they can speak in international fora on behalf of countries. It happens.
But it's not in a quid pro quo kind of situation where they get something in return. What Dr. Jufalli is getting in return is a Saint Lucian passport. He has Saint Lucian nationality, unlike Bill Gates and the other people he made reference to.
I don't know. Does he have Saint Lucian nationality?
Doesn't he have a Saint Lucian passport?
But there's a difference between having a passport and having Saint Lucian nationality.
Okay, but doesn't he have a Saint Lucian passport?
Well, Tim, I mean, you'll have to have the authorities about it, but I'm saying to you...
but Doc, if you're having a conversation, you were our British High Commissioner, all right, to London. You're our High Commissioner to London. You should be in a position to answer that particular question, whether he has a Saint Lucian passport or not.
No, what I'm saying to you, Tim, I was trying to explain to you, let me answer this with the point I'm making you. There's a difference between having a passport, which is to facilitate official duties, and necessarily having nationality.
Okay, what's his status?
I want you to make that point.
What is his status?
He's our representative to the IMO.
Okay. Apart from that, does he have a Saint Lucian passport?
against him, like I said, the authorities alone can speak about those issues.
No,
I'm not sure it's in my place.
No, but if you're having a frank discussion...
Put it that way, Tim. Put it that way, Tim. I would see nothing wrong in Dr. Jufalli or anybody who has official status being granted a diplomatic passport, because it is to facilitate the conduct of their duties.
Okay, but does he have a diplomatic Saint Lucia passport?
Tim, again, I'm explaining to you. I'm not the one to reveal that. I mean, they are the persons who are best to make those announcements. I'm not going to announce all the people I know. I can tell you, I know a lot of people that have diplomatic passports and I've had it for many years. It's not my place to make that announcement. That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay, because I don't want it to appear, sir, that Dr. Juffali is interested in Saint Lucia to the extent that he does not want anything in return, that he's so altruistic in terms of his love for Saint Lucia.
Well, Tim, again, I don't know how much I can convince you about that. But on the other hand, Tim, of course, if someone is going to invest, and as much as they're going to have philanthropic notions, they are investors and they think that they can make a profit, because it's never always entirely a charity. Somebody might say, look, an investment can bring their return on investment of 10%, but in a country it might only bring 2 or 3%. So it's not a big money maker for me, but I wouldn't necessarily want to set up an enterprise where I lose millions every year. I mean, there are different levels of consideration one can give. One can give a grant of, say, $5 million, and the grant is a foundation of things can happen. People do make those grants things in the world.
Any final comments from you, Dr. Hilaire?
Well, my final comment to your team is that, people have a right to raise questions, to ask questions, and to express their concerns. That is the democracy we have, and it is fully in order for people to do that. And I'm not suggesting that persons should not ask questions or should not necessarily raise their concerns. It should happen. But what I am disappointed in is the fact that it has become a political issue, and secondly, that it is personalized. People are now using it to try to target persons for whatever reasons. I think that's unfortunate. And I believe that Dr. Jufalli can make a very serious contribution to Saint Lucia. That was the assessment then. He passed all due diligence tests that he was subjected to. And I believe in as much as some people will raise issues and there are disappointments that there probably have not been enough information, as some people have said from the beginning, that we should move on, because this can be to the benefit of Saint Lucia, and we should approach it in such a manner.
Thank you so much for calling the broadcast, sir.
Okay, no problem. Bye.
You just heard there from St. Lucia's former High Commissioner to London, Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Imagine we have a walk-in. Normally you have a business and sometimes you go out and you try to get business and so on, but very often you have walk-ins as well. People bring business to you. We have the political leader of the United Workers' Party. He is in studio right now. He just walked in, making his presence felt. We'll permit you just 2 minutes to react to the comments made by St. Lucia's former High Commissioner to London with regard to Dr. Juffali and that statement, the interview we had just before news on the weather. What say you, sir?
Well, sir, there's an adage that says that when you tell one lie, sometimes you have to follow it up with 1,000. And that is exactly what is going on here. The issue with Dr. Juffali has absolutely nothing to do with his civil case. It is in fact the civil case that has alerted Saint Lucians to the fact that Dr. Juffali was our ambassador in the first place. There are many more important questions. First of all, what due diligence was done on Dr. Juffali? Secondly, Mr. Hilaire was also the High Commissioner when Dr. Juffali was appointed in February of last year. We now know that Dr. Juffali has gone to no IMO meetings. None. 27. Why is it that Dr. Hilaire did not report him? Why is it that Dr. Hilaire did not hold him accountable? How come nothing was done if in fact the IMO is so important? Third, if in fact Dr. Juffali's expertise and area of investment is going to be in the area of medicine, why wasn't he given the ambassadorial position at PAHO? Why was it in London? And coincidentally, IMO is in London, and that is where the court case is being brought against him. If in fact the government is to clear the name of Saint Lucia, and let us call a spade, that is what is in jeopardy. It is how the world is interpreting our actions. That the fact is, a Saudi Arabian billionaire who has absolutely no affiliation, can give no support to the government of Saint Lucia at the IMO, and has not done any, that the government is refusing to give immunity, to take away his immunity. Now, when you go to the Geneva Convention and you look at why the immunity is given to diplomats, it is in order that the host country cannot deny them entrance. So a very good example for all of us to understand would be the time when they had the war between Cuba and America. And Fidel Castro would have to go to the UN to attend a UN meeting. The Americans could not deny him entrance. And when he was there, they couldn't arrest him and they couldn't do anything else. It was never intended to protect anybody from their own domestic issues. So the right thing...
But this is not a criminal matter. It is a civil matter.
I said it's a domestic issue. Okay? It's a personal issue. This has nothing to do with Saint Lucia. This has nothing to do with preventing him from going to the IMO. Has nothing to do with us. And so our name is being sullied by the fact that Saint Lucia is refusing, and he, Dr. Juffali, is also refusing to waive the immunity. And why? And here's the implications, and why Dr. Hilaire is also implicated in this. The fact is that he was the High Commissioner. Reports are.
I don't want to get into anything that certainly will put us in any kind of legal problems, because I've already been told that this broadcast is being recorded by certain legal people.
And I'm happy.
So we have to be very careful.
And I will be very careful. The fact is, it is suggesting that he was involved in the selection of Dr. Juffali and him becoming the ambassador. Okay? So one has to question his judgment. Two, that he is now the chairman of the Citizenship by Investment Program. And what do we know? We know that the US, the Canadians, the British, and the Europeans have been concerned for some time about the Citizenship by Investment Program in the Caribbean, not just Saint Lucia, but in particular that 2 islands north of us also gave people diplomatic status, and it seemed that they were selling diplomatic status. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, what is surrounding us with the Dr. Juffali case, there are suggestions. It's clear for everybody to see that our diplomacy was for sale. And I'm not saying who benefited, I'm just saying it was for sale. So if it is for sale, who is going to prevent now Dr. Hilaire, who is now what? The chairman of the Citizenship by Investment Program, who is now involved in a situation in which diplomacy has been sold. And he is now going to be the chairman. And this is the same Dr. Hilaire who is also potentially interested in running for office. That we have to question his judgment. We have to question his morality. We have to question his ethics in what has happened here. And when I listened to the interview, I had to come here to say how disappointed I was that given everything that's surrounding what is at stake, which is the reputation of Saint Lucians, and it's already difficult for Saint Lucians to get visas to go to many countries. And I assume that based on our actions, not only today, but the 31 Cubans who came through here, that the government was advised that they shouldn't come, that the Prime Minister refused to go to a meeting with Biden when he came down as Vice President. The Lambert situation in which we have what? Young people coming here on the promise of getting visas and using St. Lucia as a transit point. All these things are telling our partners in the world that we are a security risk, that we are not living up to our expectations. And I think that the government is playing with fire, because our main source markets are Canada, United States, Britain, and Europe. And I'm asking the government, one more time, do the right thing. Stop playing Saint Lucians for fools and come out and deal with the situation. Dr. Juffali must withdraw his immune status on this situation. I don't care about his situation with his wife. But Saint Lucia must show that his diplomacy is not for sale, okay? And that we are going to do the right things, and that our partners can always rely on Saint Lucia to do the right thing.